Hey, 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 it is Friday, December 13th, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, right here on the West Coast. I am Brannon Beliso. This is Success Never Sleeps, where we as a collective try to figure out this thing called life, in particular, small martial arts school owners, and we want to be happy, healthy, prosperous, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, physically, and of course, financially. But what does that take? A mindset of growth, a mindset of learning, right? It can never be this fixed mindset because without change, you cannot grow. If a seed stays a seed, it never turns into a tree, becomes fruit. It doesn't. It has to change from a seed to a sapling to a tree to bearing fruit, right? It's the same thing here. So again, I encourage everyone as they come to watch this show, like anything in my personal life, I'm huge on that growth. And that growth to me is imperative. It's just imperative to my life, my thinking, and everything that I do. So I encourage you to do the same. Let's begin by thanking our sponsors, please. Our sponsors are Tucson Market Muscles, My Studio, Kids Love Life Skills, LC Accounting, and Kin Creative. Now, all of these services I use, all of these people I believe in. I believe in these people. And I don't take it lightly, the people that I endorse, the people that I choose to align myself with. And I'm very proud of all these companies. And I actively use every one of them to grow my businesses, to sustain my businesses. And of course, they represent my brand, right? My brand to me is so important, as yours should be too. Cool. What do we got coming up? It's Time Life Freedom, you guys. We put the date out early because it's only 20 school owners. Somebody asked me, can I put down a deposit? And I thought about it for a moment. I said, well, let me give that a thought. But it's the end of the year. If you're not spending your money, you need to spend it. Otherwise, you give it to the government in taxes. Now, we should all pay our fair share of taxes. Please don't get me wrong. But right now, I'm on a new MacBook Pro. I got a new iPhone 16. An electrician's down at our Millbrae location installing electrical to have permanently mounted iPads in there. All of it's being done. I want to spend that money so I have the tax write-off and I reduce my tax dollar. We are a cash in, cash out business, correct? Money in, money out each month. It doesn't help if you say I have money in the bank and it's sitting there doing nothing for you. It's not earning interest. It's not accumulating any kind of, wealth for you. So again, make sure you're spending that money and you should spend it on It's Time Life Freedom, November 8th through 11th, 2025. Only 20 school owners, only 20. That is the way we roll. And we've done that for 8 years now, coming on year number 9. It's an amazing 4-day event worth every penny and then some. Cool? What else we got, Marco? It's Time Group Mentoring, right? It's Time Group Mentoring, my team and I. The group's growing. We have more people in the group today. We had our meeting, and I love it. It's kind of me. It's kind of like the Breakfast Club, right? It's kind of like the Breakfast Club. It's a bunch of people trying to figure these things out, different walks of life, different mindsets, different versions of success, but we all have the common goal. We want to have better curriculum. So we're all working on bettering our curriculum right now. We're all working on growing our schools. We're all working on becoming better learners when it comes to small business, when it comes to, achieving those type of financial goals. Why have a business and not take that money you make and turn it into more money or passive income, as I would say? So you want to be part of the It's Time Group Mentoring. Now is the time to get involved because now is the time. Thank you, Marco. So, like someone says to me, when's the best time to start a business? Now. When's the best time to buy a house? Now. When's the best time to invest in the stock market? Now. Now. Right now. Right now. Because you wait. Like they said in Rocky 3, there is no tomorrow. Remember that? When Apollo Creed said to Rocky, there is no tomorrow. There is no tomorrow. All you have is today. So the ability to move fluidly with that type of mindset has always been very impactful for me. I like when I do things. And doing things, do I make a lot of mistakes? All the time. All the time. But I accept failure as part of success. One goes together with the other. Cool? Hey, Bob, what's happening? Who else is here? Let me know that you're here. Let me know you're coming aboard. One of the things we discussed in our group mentoring today, which I think kind of tripped everybody out, is I see it everywhere, right? Black Friday, Cyber Monday, make a run for the border. Let's end the year strong. My challenge with that, I think that mindset is very cyclical. And that mindset is the person who sits there on New Year's Day and says, my goal is to lose 10 pounds and get in the best shape of my life. Then the gyms are packed. Every club is packed in January. Boom, 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 boom. By February, it's empty. Why? Because it's not a new habit. And it's not a sustainable habit. It's a knee-jerk reaction to an unhealthy lifestyle you've probably had for years and years and years. So, what do I do every night at midnight? I kid you not. I say, Happy New Year. Because every day is a new day, right? Every day is a new day. Hey, my brother Rick Rando, another amazing speaker, amazing thought leader. If you get a chance, find Rick Rando at LinkedIn. Nicola, God, I can never say that. I can't say that right. I know I'm just chopping up your name, but welcome, sir. Welcome, 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 welcome. So every night at midnight, my mindset is Happy New Year. And that's really important for me because on the days I have a really bad day and I make some bad choices, you know what? I can take what I learned and quickly put it behind me. The challenge with the thinking that perpetuates is one bad day turns to 2 bad days, turns to a bad week, turns into a bad month, turns into a bad year. It does not have to be that way. The ability for course correction in our mindset, the ability to reset is really that quickly. So for me, and I recommend it to everybody, every night at midnight, what do you say? Happy New Year, right? And you got a clean slate. So really, really think about it. So somebody had reached out to me and said, hey, man, could you talk to me about your business structure, how you got where you are? I know it's really different from everything in the industry. How did that all come to be? Now, my way is not your way. So what I'm hoping today is it inspires you to really pull back your own covers. It inspires you to look deeply into your heart and ask yourself, why am I doing this? What is my purpose here? And be brutally honest with yourself. Because I believe for me, the minute I discovered my purpose and my passion, the moving parts were easy. The information's all out there. But if I don't have a very clear why, for me, live your best life, that live your best life. That's it. Live. What is living? It's not surviving. Yours. What's mine? All for me, nobody else's, right? Because that's what drives my heart. That's what drives my discipline. I do it for my family, my team, and the community, but it's got to begin and end with me. Best? Man, that's a tough one, right? What is your best? I have a great saying. In order to deserve the best, you have to do and be your best. Now, that changes incrementally. So I added the other saying, right? I can always do and be better, right? That's it. And if I do those two things, I will find that Nicoli McLeod. Okay? Nicoli McLeod. I'll learn that, sir. Can I say it a bunch of times in this show today? I hope you don't mind. Nicoli McLeod. Did I do that right? Let me know. Let me know. And everybody else coming aboard, do say hello. So I'm going to give you the backstory. Please take notes and whatever fits, use whatever doesn't, throw it out. Okay? Throw it out. So I owned my first martial arts school when I was 19 years old. Now, I was a fighter. I was competing. So every night was training for a tournament. Anybody who came through the door got beaten on. I didn't care about their progress. I was more fixated on competing. It was closed in 9 months. That's how long the school lasted. 9 freaking months, right? 9. Done day. So I just felt the martial arts wasn't something. It was my art. It was my passion. So I didn't want to monetize it. But I'd grown up in small businesses. I'm a 3rd generation small business owner. And I knew that being my path as well. My grandmother had restaurants I worked in. My dad had a family martial arts school that I worked in. So I knew that small business and owning my own businesses was my key to freedom, right? I love the freedom I experience. I talked about that with my wife the other day. We don't go in and punch in a clock from 9 to 5. Most days we don't work in the business. And I'm just so blessed and grateful. I just love it. I love it. I'm sitting here talking to you right now, right? So I heard worse, lie. Nikolai. I'll get it. Nikolai McLeod. Is that it? Nikolai McLeod. You better go back and watch this a bunch of times, Nikolai. Hey man, this guy said my name a whole bunch in his show. So that became a very important factor for me. I knew I was going to be a small business owner. So I owned a DJ company. We did weddings, bar mitzvahs, company parties, a mobile DJ. And that was very lucrative. And in the interim, I was trying to get a record deal, major record deal. And it wasn't happening here in the States. I ended up signing with Warner Brothers in the Philippines. I sold the DJ company, did that thing, came back, and realized that I love martial arts. I really, really do. I just didn't know how to monetize it so I could make it my life. I always felt that you either suffered for your art, right? And you were this starving artist of a martial artist, or you became a McDojo, a black belt factory, right? Neither of which is something I wanted to be a part of, right? Growing up in a martial arts school, we lived above our family martial arts school. So family and martial arts was very, very, very close to my heart. And for me, it was super important that I recognized that. So the first thing I did was, of course, I started going to all the different events. And I went to one guy's event. God, how do I say this without? Oh, I'm going to say it without saying their name. I think that would be appropriate. I'm sitting in his event, and he holds up his keychain, and he goes, "What do you see?" I said, "Keys." "What do you see?" "I see keys." He said, "No, you see a Porsche keyring." And that's how he started his seminar. So throughout the seminar, it was information, information, sales pitch, information, information, sales pitch, information, information, sales pitch. So of course, as time went on, I started just to get a little bit done with it. And I'm sitting there, and I'm saying to myself, okay, here we go, right? Here we go. What am I going to do with this whole situation that I'm obviously not into because it was a sales fest? And so this guy goes in the middle of his seminar. He says to me, you, how many students do you have? Right? And I look at him and I said, at the time, I had 350. And so he goes, well, what systems, what sales scripts do you have? What things like that you do? And I said, I have none of them, sir. And he looked at me, and his only reply that came out was, you must really love what you do. You must really love what you do. So I knew I knew I was on the right track. I think the biggest thing was for me um, is I didn't understand how to take something I love so much and monetize it to where I could live my purpose and passion every day. Okay, so stay with me on that. And so I started to seek out CEOs of companies, of people that really loved what they do. And the first one that came to my mind was Steve Jobs, right? This guy loved Apple. He protected Apple like it was a baby and the narrative he controlled. Another one was Walt Disney. He was another big influence on me. Then, of course, the guy at Nike, right? I've got his book. I think it's right here. I reference it, right? Phil Knight, Shoe Dog, right? So, for me, I was looking for people that own companies that really loved what they did, right? They loved what they did. I was curious to know, why does Warren Buffett, who's a billionaire, go into work every day? Why? Well, he doesn't need to do that, but he needs purpose. So purpose became a big factor in there. I realized these people loved what they did because they love fulfilling their purpose. Okay? Write that down. So if you had to ask yourself that question right now, what is your purpose, right? What would you tell me? What is your purpose? And that leads into the question, if I was to ask you, why do I want to come to you versus Joe Karate down the street? What would you say? What would you say? I would say, well, we're going to help you live your best life. Oh, that's a lot more compelling than we teach focus and discipline, right? Or I've got 20 degrees wrapped around my belt, right? I just think that emotional connection people have with living your best life is powerful. So the first thing I learned about Apple was cultivating a purpose statement. Ours is, we are a community dedicated to serving you in every moment to live your best life. So everything we do, whether it's designing curriculum, teaching a class, running the holiday party tomorrow, right? I'm having iPads installed right now in the Millbrae location. Everything we do is about living your best life. Everything. Creating a company people want to work for so they can make it their career with me is about living your best life, right? Maintaining my health and looking this way at 62 is living my best life, right? All those things, being on the bench, watching every one of my son's basketball games or my daughter's soccer games, for me, is living my best life. That's what works for me. So once I defined that and that became our mission, everything began to magically change. Everything changed in our company. So going back to that, when I opened my school, I opened it with 100 students. And I'm going to tell you why. I was teaching at 3 different martial arts schools, the Park and Rec, a couple of health clubs. Fitness kickboxing was really big. It was called Taibo. So I rode on the wave of that, opened the school with 100 students, but I understood we did not have a purpose yet. We did not have a why. It was not sustainable, especially with a fitness-based model. It's trend-based. The minute Taibo died, I started watching my student count drop. But I was able to lean into the fact that I love martial arts, is why this guy said, you must love what you do. You have 350 students. But it was a personality-driven business. And I look at huge companies like Apple going, Steve Jobs can't make every computer himself. He can't design every ad himself. He can't do that. And what Steve Jobs did was surround himself with people that thought the way he did. Even though it was think different, think different, they still had a very common belief system in the why of Apple. Are you with me? So I want you to discover your why. Write that down. And for everybody coming aboard, say hello. I know there's a lot of people sitting up there, the eye in the sky, but I want to see you. Say hello, please. Put the name of your school, where you're turning in from. And it became very powerful because I knew with a why, the reason things started to change, and I didn't see it at first, but I'm going to tell you. If you make your business a sales-centric business, and that's what a lot of people do, because they spend no time or money or investment on bettering their curriculum, bettering their staff training, better their own level 5 leadership. They don't spend any money on that. They're on this revolving door of constantly having to get new students. They get 10, they lose 10. They get 10, they lose 10. They get 10, they lose 10. Now, we all have attrition. I get that. We're all going to lose a certain amount of students no matter how good we are. That is simply life. That is okay. Right? When it's winter, I don't complain it's winter. I put on a jacket. Same thing here. It doesn't mean we don't do things to reduce our attrition and work towards that, but I don't let it be the end all be all. And I don't encourage you to do that either. Cool? Cool. Hey, and if you got a question, just put it in there and I'll be happy to answer it as we go along here. So I knew if I was a sales-centric business, then I create a consumer because it's transactional. All I'm about is closing the deal. I study sales scripts. I study ways to remove the objectives, right? Because in a salesman's mind, no means maybe and maybe means yes. I just haven't convinced you yet. That is not something I want to be a part of. And I knew that too. I always felt really weird because, I'm in my uniform and I went through the ringer of reading those sales scripts and all that. And it just didn't feel authentic. It didn't feel real. It didn't feel right for me. It did not. So I knew that part needed to change because nobody in my school wants to sell. None of us want to sell. We don't like selling, right? That's why if you look at that industry, that career of being a salesperson, how many times have you bought something from somebody, gone back 3 months later with a question, and that salesperson has moved on? I would say at least 50 to 60% of anything I've ever bought from a salesperson, they're gone within 3 months. Anybody? Put it in the comments. Who's with me on that? Anybody? Put it in, just so I make sure I'm not tripping on my own. All right. So with that said, I knew that if I simply sold you things, I create this transactional relationship, and it's not sustainable, and it's not something that I wanted to be a part of. But here we go. If you can get people to believe in what you do, you create this loyal customer. That became my purpose. So, in the culture of One Martial Arts, we moved from that instant gratification, quick fix mentality of closing the deal into that of being a farmer. That mindset of being a farmer, because I say this all the time, I do not want leads. I do not want trials. I don't want students. What I really want is relationships. But in order to set the foundation, of a proper relationship, I have to sing a different song. Now, I work with Kin Creative. So I write copy, I help storyboard the different Facebook ads and things that we're doing, as well as I consult the overall company. But I don't sell you anything. I tell stories. I tell stories of inspiration. I still tell stories of emotional connection, as I'm doing right now with you. It's the same thing there. So that why live your best life, I write that into copy. That live your best life is at my website. Live your best life is in our Google business page. So once you have that clear why, you live, teach, and preach. And you function from there as a company, right? At a time, you'd go into a Steve Jobs meeting and someone would have something. And he goes, well, does this fulfill our purpose of thinking different? I do the same thing. When something is presented to me by my team, right now we went over schedule changes. And I said, how does this fulfill our brand promise to live your best life? Well, by moving this here and doing this here, great, wonderful, let's run with it. We can always change the schedule if it doesn't work. But everything we do is filtered and ran through a very clear purpose. Now, why is that of value? I was in a meeting and I said, much like, organizations, and this is a long organization. I know it may not seem like the best example, but it does. Alcoholics Anonymous. Everything's about principle before personality. Principles. Principles. If we function from a clear set of principles, we can all move this team of individuals of diverse thinking at least down the same path. And that became very valuable because I enjoy the autonomy that I give my team. They come up with better ideas than I do. They implement things without ever having to run them by me anymore because we're all on the same page in our belief system of helping people live their best life. So I think that was the biggest thing because I was frustrated going to all the different events out there and finding myself sell, 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 sell. Here's a new sales script. Here's another new sales script. Here's the way to close. Here's the way to upgrade. And I went, what the heck? I grew up above a martial arts school. This doesn't resonate with me at all. Now, I'm not saying my way is better. I'm not saying that you can't make money with contracts and all that other stuff, but we don't do it. And that's what's unique to our culture. No contracts, no upgrades, no belt testing fees, no enrollment fee, no cancellation fee, none of it. None of it. And we're proud to tell people that information. And we back that up with each and every class. We want to earn that trust. Each and every class, we want to earn that trust. Is it a little more volatile? I don't know. Unless you're guaranteed you're going to take somebody to court if they renege on that contract, are you going to take them to court? And if you're not, then why have contracts? And somebody said, well, we teach commitment. I said, well, I'm committed to bringing my kid to class this week. That's about it. My kid's freaking 6 years old. You want me to commit to a 1-year contract? You're insane. Especially if you're a brand new school and you're just opening your doors. I don't know you. I don't even know if you're going to be here 6 months from now. And you want me to commit to a year contract. That is not happening. So you see where I'm going with that? I knew culturally for us, we wanted to be in that position of service. Write that down, of service. I am not the master and you are not lucky to be training with me. It's the other way around, right? You, the student, are my purpose. It's not the other way around. You're not here to fulfill my ego and do 20 push-ups on my command. It is not that way in our culture. That is why we are called one. One martial arts. Not Brannon Beliso's karate school. No, no, no. We are called one. Again, within Live Your Best Life, within that sense of service, one became a huge part of that brand and the culture that we've created that generates $2 million a year annually. Let me take a deep breath. Okay, so give me some questions. I know this is a lot to take in, but like I said, when this person reached out, I just went down this rabbit hole and had to look back on the past 24 years of one martial arts and ask myself that real question, what is this all about? What's going on here? Why are we where we at? Right? It really, really became that. And honestly, with a deep sense of love and gratitude, I've got to tell you, I'm very blessed and grateful to walk the path I walk, to be in the position I'm in today. I just am. And I'm tickled pink most days, when I really stop to think about how blessed I am to be where I am. Cool? All right. Who's here? Tell me who you are, where you tuning in from. Success leaves clues, and that's why I believe this is a very valuable show today. And for those of you who are choosing to be here, I thank you for that. I thank you for that. So we understood that. And I remember one time somebody walked through the door and they said, well, to be honest with you, the guy down the street is like, at the time we were 199 a month and this guy was 150. I said, awesome. Do they have enrollment fees? I didn't ask. Do they have a cancellation fee? I didn't ask. Do they have bell testing fees? I did not ask. So they left. They came back. They signed up. They said, you know what we realized? When you added everything in, they were going to charge us. They were actually $225 a month, not $150. You're not going to earn trust by doing that, people. You are not going to earn trust by doing that. Again, we rolled up testing fees, anything like that, all into one monthly price. And that way, I think the reason we felt the value in that, and again, it's about living your best life. Most parents like to budget. And if my kid's dance class is $100 a month, I want to pay $100 a month. Oh, suddenly we got a recital, $300 in costumes, extra workshops, buying tickets to the performance. That is not a good day. It simply is not. And that is with the perception that we nickel and dime people came into play. That is where the conception of McDojo and Black Belt Factory came into play. Because we create a million different belts because we need the revenue generated from belt testing fees. I disagree. So if I add another belt at this point, it's simply to bridge the gap of learning, to make the learning experience more manageable, more cohesive, and more obtainable. I don't add more belts to get another, belt testing fee. It doesn't happen. So that culture, I think, became a very unique way to position my businesses in the communities that we're in. Every other school you go to will ask you for a belt testing fee. We don't. Every other school you go to will have an enrollment fee. We don't. Every other school you go to, right, will have some type of upgrade in place. We don't. Every other school you go to has some type of built-in retail. Oh, you're a yellow belt now. You must buy this uniform. You must buy these nunchucks. You must buy this. We don't. I was so sad when I could go to Wikipedia and find the terminology McDojo. That made me very, very sad. Right? You're talking about somebody who grew up in a martial arts school. Right? It just made me so sad. It's like when the White Sox threw the World Series and that kid says in the movie, say it isn't so, Joe. Say it isn't so. It just made me sad. Right? Family and martial arts go hand in hand. So again, that didn't work for me. Not saying it doesn't work. There's a lot of schools that have contracts, upgrades, all those things, right? We don't. So that culture became what separated us from everybody else. That became very powerful. All right. Next thing we moved into culturally, which was a hard one, was the mindset of community-based marketing. Gary Vee said, nobody cares what you know until they know that you care. Okay. So I knew as a business, it was important to position myself as a business that cared. If you want to show that you care, give back to the community that serves you. The challenge is many of us are conditioned to believe, what is my ROI? Return on investment. I can't tell you how many school owners will come to me and say, I did this event and I didn't get any new signups. Well, here's my mindset about that. And hey, Josh, what's happening, man? Say hello to Miss Charlotte for me, please. Yo, cute thing. And put your questions in, okay? Because I can talk about this for the next 3 hours. But today, I want to make sure that we cover the culture of one martial arts. So, okay, nobody cares what you know until they know that you care. Okay, let's think about that. How in the heck is anybody going to perceive that I care about the community if I'm fixated on my return on investment? You cannot. You simply cannot. Stay with me. You simply cannot. What's up, Larry? So I took that off the table. No more ROI. We're going to do these events to put our best foot forward, to position our business in this community as a business that cares. Why? Because they're not there to sign up for martial arts classes. If you got a booth at a town, farmer's market or something like that, they're not there to buy martial arts classes. So stop selling them. Just be part of the community. As the saying goes, pay it forward. Say it again, pay it forward. There's no return on investment in that statement, right? And paying it forward promotes what I believe is the law of attraction, the law of abundance. And by giving back to the communities in the way that we have, powerful. So, how do we do that? Number one, your services. Donate a week of camp, donate a premium birthday party, donate a confidence building workshop, donate, anything to a silent auction that brings value. Please don't give them 2 weeks in a t-shirt, 6 ones for them to bend on. Please don't do that. It's so self-serving. So again, things are hit or miss if you choose to do that. So the minute I just disciplined ourselves to take that off the table, right? Take it off the table, man. We are no longer going to look at our ROI. We're really going to look at it as how can we bring value to this event? What can we do to impact this community? What can we do to make a difference? What can we do? Right? That became my focal. And once I made that mindset shift, everything changed. Freaking everything changed for us in a big, big, big way. Because if and when they were ready to sign up for martial arts, we were the only people they came to. Okay? So, what makes our culture unique beyond that? Gratitude. I can't tell you every time you read about, I have a student who wants to quit. What should I do? First thing they do is set up a meeting, refocus, re-energize, recommit, right? 3 R's. Get them back in, get them back on track. It's a done day. That doesn't work, then guilt the parent. What kind of parent allows their kid to quit? If that doesn't work, then say you're under contract, right? That's so ugly. That is so ugly. If somebody is quitting or wants to quit, they don't quit that day. They have quit months prior to that. You with me? So again, if I consciously spend my time, money, and effort on bettering my curriculum, bettering my staff training, creating a Disney experience in all of my classes, I believe everything changes. Everything. No, everything? No, everything changes. So I am personally extremely mindful of that in everything that I do. And that's why I think it's such a wonderful thing when you see students and families show up 30 minutes before their class and they're staying 45 minutes after the class. When people love to be part of what you do, they become your brand ambassadors. And that's what I learned with Apple and Disney. When you go to Disneyland, and we're going to go in a couple weeks. When you go to Disneyland and you see this couple, and you look at this couple, they're like, I don't know, 70 years old, Mickey Mouse ears on, and you look for the kids. There's no kids. There's no freaking kids. What's going on here? You realize they came to Disneyland as kids. They came to Disneyland as teenagers. They probably came to Disneyland in college with, their future significant other. They probably came to Disneyland as a married couple with their own kids. And then they probably came with their grandkids, right? Later on. And now they're still coming. Why? Because Disney focuses on consistently delivering a product, an experience that people grow to trust. And that is why rotating curriculum, systems, all rooted in the why of live your best life is what earns us that trust. It doesn't help. One minute I teach a safe and supported class. Next minute it's a free-for-all and people are beating the crap out of one another. Doesn't help if we do that. Doesn't help at all, at all, at all. So I want to be very, very, very mindful of that in everything that I do. Because your brand promise is what drives our culture. The brand promise that we make to help people live their best life, the brand promise that we make to help their child be better versions of themselves is not negotiable in our company. It is not negotiable. But it takes that type of love for what you do in order to have that type of commitment to your brand. Now, stay with me. We're not discussing your ego. We're not discussing your narcissistic, insecure, narrow mindedness that perpetuates in our industry everywhere. Everywhere. First thing you see is the name of the school is after the person. You want to kill your team? Put your name at the top of the billboard. They can never live up to that. Where's Master So-and-so? Doesn't he teach her? That's his name out there on the sign. No, it's his school, but we're the instructors here. That's a bad conversation. Thus, one. We are one people. We're all equal, right? Culturally, that became a big part. It wasn't our tagline, but one martial arts. We're all one. We're all equal. We're all, here for a common goal of helping each other live our best life. That is why we all wear black. There's not a red uniform for this belt level, a blue one for this belt level, a black one for this belt level, a white one. We don't believe that. Why? We're one. And what I noticed with all those different clubs, Masters Club, Black Belt Club, Leadership Club, different color uniform, it promotes separatism and it promotes elitism. And in our culture, only for us, we're one. So that sense of equality, that sense of community became our purpose. So there was no room for different colored uniforms. There was no room for a hierarchy, right, of masters, leader, black belt club. There was no need for that hierarchy. So in our business structure, stay with me, in our business structure, we run with a flatline management. Anytime somebody says, this is my boss, that's a bad day. Automatic course correction. And I will say very politely, I'm not their boss. We just, work together. We work together as a team. We work together as a team. Okay? So that's important. Super important. And you see how all these things are very well thought out? Very well thought out. And that's important. So the community part became a huge thing. Huge, huge thing. So number one was services, right? Donate things to silent auction, offer yourself, PE teacher of the day, go read a book at an elementary school or a preschool. All that became big. Another one is your time. Your time. I've done the crosswalk. My wife has done the white zone, drop off and pick up. My wife has done e-waste. She sits on the PTA. She's in the Millbrae Athletic Boosters Club. We've done so many things. I've served food at silent auctions, crab feed. We do so many things to put ourself into the community. We're not selling you anything, but we're part of the community. That endearment, that kinship, that is value. So if and when they are ready for martial arts, they come to you. And then last and not least, monetary donations, right? I mean, I do Facebook ads, right? But I make sure that a big part of my marketing budget sponsors a Little League baseball team. We sponsored something where we got our name on a t-shirt for a hike. We have one of our kickboxers right now trying to raise money for cancer awareness so she can run the New York Marathon. We're very, very big on that. We're very big on monetary donations, anywhere that we can. Anywhere that we can. But if you don't have money, donate your time. I remember it was the football game at the high school. And I was just there watching, and I looked into the snack bar. My wife was part of the Millbrae Athletic Boosters. She's standing shoulder to shoulder with the principal, with somebody from the Board of Education, with somebody that was a parent, and somebody was PTA president. What kind of audience is that for a couple of hours? You're just people being people. slinging nachos and drinks and hot dogs, right? But what kind of dialogue, what kind of introduction, what kind of seeds can you plant by being in proximity with the Board of Education? Someone from the Board of Education, PTA president, principals. That could not happen if you simply cold called them and wanted to set up an audience because they immediately think you want to sell them something. It's a soft sell. We all care about the community. We're all donating our time. How cool is that? Thus, no contracts, no sales scripts, none of that, right? See how that all goes in line with who we are? Cool. Now, so I mentioned about 10 minutes ago about that farmer mentality, right? I want you to think about that for a moment. A farmer mentality. I want to develop relationships. I don't care about leads. I don't care about trials. I don't care about students. I want relationships. And sidebar, why do you think the average person's worked for our company 13 years or longer? Because family and relationships take precedent over everything. People before profits. People before profits. Okay? So, how does the farmer think? Rototill the ground, pull the weeds, get the rocks out, add fertilizer, make my little rows. Do I have crop yet? No. I plant some seeds, I cover them up, I water them, I wait a couple months, I get a little sprout. Do I have crop yet? No. I watch it, I prune it, I pull the weeds, watch for the bugs, do all that stuff. A tree sprouts. Let's say it's walnuts. Then it takes what, 7 years to maturation for a walnut tree? But once it starts bearing fruit, right, those nuts, those walnuts, you have plenty of walnuts, enough walnuts for you, enough walnuts to give to your community, and enough walnuts to sell and do well. You with me? Okay. So I was in an elevator with one of my clients in Las Vegas, and we were talking. And this guy looks over at me and he says, "Are you a farmer?" I said, "Well, in some ways, yeah, I am." He goes, "Well, I am a farmer. I grow strawberries." And hearing your conversation, I just want to add, I have 60% of my investment into growing these strawberries before I ever see cent number one. So I think that's the other thing that's very different about our culture. Why we continue to maintain and sustain and grow and consistently put out those kind of numbers is because I am willing to invest. I am willing to put money into my team. I am willing to reduce my profit by a little bit, right? To get our school primed for the new year. Paint, facelift, all of that. Those different things, are so important. When I talk to school owners that say to me, I'm, 50% of what I make is my profit. Okay, so let me get this straight. You make $100, you profit $50, correct? Yes, I do. Well, I profit $1,000 and I make 35%, $350. Which one would you take? And that's the point I'm trying to make. Most of the people create a job for themselves and they're terrible bosses. They fluctuate between 75 and 100 students year in and year out, decade after decade. They've simply created a job for themselves and they're a terrible boss. Now, unless that's your version of success, and that's cool. That's cool. But if it's not, then I believe the key to your success is a mindset shift. And that is the key to my success. I'm constantly learning, growing, evolving, right? The way kids behave today is not the way they behaved 10 years ago. It's simply not. They learn differently today because of technology, the pandemic, and so many outside influences than they did a decade ago. We need to teach differently. We need to teach differently. So we're always mining that data, looking at child psychology, studying things, right? So that we can be more impactful. And that learning has allowed me to make really good decisions in my business. So I think that's the other thing that makes our culture extremely unique is I personally recognize for me that in order for me to be successful, As a small business owner, I need the ability to wear a lot of hats really well, right? In the old day, what would we say? You're a jack of all trades and you're a master of none. Okay, jack of all trades, a master of none. Not in today's world. Not in today's world. You look at somebody like a Tom Brady, great athlete, smart man, great business person, all those different things come into play. It's the same thing here. You, as a small business owner, need to be well versed at a lot of different things. You need to be well versed at leadership, well versed at bookkeeping, well versed on basic law of the different policies and guidelines in your community. You need to be well versed as a communicator, well versed as a curriculum developer, right? Well versed as a systems writer, well versed as hiring and firing and growing a team. There's a lot of hats you need to wear. But what I witness with the people that are stagnant, stuck at 75 to 100, is that, like Dave Kovar said, you haven't been teaching for 40 years. You've been teaching for 1 year. You just repeated it 40 times. That was so amazing. When Dave Kovar said that, I went, wow. It's like Groundhog's Day, right? They learn one thing and they repeat it over and over and over and over again. I know it's harsh, to pull back my own covers, which I do every day. And my wife's really good at that. She'll always check me. I welcome it. I welcome my team to come to me and tell me we need to do this better, or this decision that I made is not working. They are in the trenches every day. I am not. It behooved me to not listen to my team. Walt Disney taught that. If he walked into a meeting for a movie or a ride or an expansion, the first thing he would ask everybody, what do you think? I live by that because I'm not there. I don't know. What do you think? And when TJ presented the schedule yesterday to me, I asked him why. Why are we going to do this? Why are we going to do that? Why are we going to do this? And it pretty much fell in line with creating a better learning environment, a better structure, a better way to implement curriculum. And I said, go for it. But not go for it. Your job is on the line. You're going to get fired tomorrow. No, go for it. And if it doesn't work, we'll pivot. We'll make course correction. Won't know if it's going to work until we try it. See, so that type of autonomy is super important. That type of autonomy is powerful if you want to create a team. The challenge is the ego of the leader, do it my way or the highway. Even worse, no one can do it better than me. I might as well just do it myself. The challenge with that mindset, you are a martyr. You're a victim. Might as well just do it myself. That's a victim mindset. And culturally, if we're one martial arts, live your best life, there's not any room for that. So me as a level 5 leader, I'm constantly working on humility. I'm constantly working on gratitude. I'm constantly working on the skill set of empathy. Because that way, the interactions with my team, meetings, different things we do is very fluid. And it's in line with live your best life. I am not living my best life if I'm narcissistic, if I'm insecure, and I'm driven by that narrow mindset. I'm not living my best life. I can only live my best life when I rise to be a better version of myself through empathy, through gratitude, through accountability. There's so many other ones, but that for me is why we are, after 24 years, consistently. So we opened Millbrae 10 years ago. It broke $1 million 3 years after that. So pretty much consistently the past 7 years, with the exception of the pandemic, we generate about $2 million a year. And I live at about a 35% net. Now that works really well for me. Again, using that other scenario. And I learned that when I studied McDonald's for a minute, where the average franchisee generates $2 million a year. I said, wow, that's good for a location, right? But he only takes home $150K. Wow, that's like really sucky, is it? No, it's not. They have an established business model. They have the marketing. They have the branding. They have this food chain supply. They have their systems and processes. It's done for you. But make no mistake, you got to get in there and find the right people, and they help you do that and all that good stuff. But if you did zero work, right, at some point, once it's running efficiently, if you're doing zero work and I hand you $150,000 a year, Would you be happy with that? I think so. I think so. So that's the big mindset shift also, is that people take a lot of pride that they make. And hey, stay with me. Who's heard this one? I make the lion's share. Whoa, the lion's share. I get the biggest piece of the pie. Okay. Okay, you do. But again, you're getting 50% of $100. That's $50. I'm getting 35% of 1,000. That's $350. And I'm not there. See the difference? But it's a huge mindset shift. Most business people don't get that because they're not business people. What they are is somebody who works a day job who's used to getting a paycheck every 2 weeks, taxes taken out and everything taken out. And that's their mindset. So what ends up happening is they don't develop the skill set. And this is a big part of our culture. They don't develop the skill set to become a successful small business owner or an entrepreneur. I even discuss investing with my team, what stocks they're buying, which direction to move in. We have those discussions as well. We do. Okay. So stay with me on that, because what happens if I come to this plate as an employee, I will behave as an employee and I won't make the type of choices to cultivate, number one, a brand with a purpose statement, with core values, with brand absolutes, with creating a company people want to work for, because I'm just a paycheck player in my mindset. I'm a paycheck player. So that huge shift that needs to happen to be in this type of position that I'm in today. And people would say, you're an anomaly. No, I'm not. Maybe in our industry, right? There's only a handful of us generating millions of dollars, in locations, but there's other industries that do it every day. Mom and pop businesses out there generating $1 million a year with about a 35% profit. Again, it's a mindset shift. It's a mindset shift. And the more you're willing to do that, and I think what allows me to make those decisions is I'm very clear on live your best life. I'm very clear on my moral compass and my core values. I'm very clear on that. So when I make those decisions today, I move with a confidence. The challenge is we live in a culture of, and this is very important to you, why one martial arts is what it is, where everyone's entitled to an opinion. Okay, that sounds very egotistical to me. The opinion I'm entitled to is the one that I've earned through trial and error, through years and decades of life experience, of success and failure, to have enough data, real life data, to say to you, this is what worked for me and didn't work. But at the end of the day, I don't know what works for you. This is just what I did. So I believe that's an important part, because so many small business owners are running around with this entitlement and this false sense of security, and they can't figure out why. Why? Because they live from a very defensive posture. Because if anyone put them under a microscope, they'd realize you don't know anything. You know nothing. You just simply regurgitated something you heard from Grant Cardone or Gary Vee, and all of a sudden you're this authority. I'm not even authority on me yet. I'm still discovering me to be a better version of me. But I do understand, after 40 years now of running small businesses, this is my recipe for success. This is mine. I don't know what yours is. But are you willing to admit that I'm not where I want to be? Are you willing to admit that there's some fundamental thinking that I need to change my mindset on because I'm not getting the results I want? I mean, at the end of the day, if you're not getting the results you want, something needs to give, doesn't it? I think so. So that, in a nutshell, is One Martial Arts, and I welcome you to reach out to me and ask me any questions about One Martial Arts and how we do what we do. People just asked me about my Kids Love Life Skills in our It's Time group mentoring. We went over that. It's Kids Love Life Skills is huge to our culture, because I understand, and I shared that I went through this conversation with ChatGPT. What does a mom in Somalia want for her 6-year-old kid? What does a mom in New York want? How about if she was a Martian mom? What would she want for her 6-year-old kid? And the things that came up was safety, support, physical activity, life skills, life skills. So I made a commitment over a decade ago to cultivating and creating a life skills system I felt was impactful and helped kids be the best version of themselves, but also one that parents would be endeared to. Because again, we create brand loyalty, right? Then we have people that want to be with us for life. And that's powerful, extremely powerful. Cool. So put your questions in there if you have any. Do so. If you want to think about it, get back to me. Let's thank our sponsors, Marco. Ha! Tucson, Market Muscles, My Studio, Kids Love Life Skills, LC Accounting, and Kin Creative. All companies I work with, all people I believe in, all people I have meaningful relationships with. If you haven't used these services, at least explore the opportunity because I believe they potentially have the ability to help you grow your school. Cool? What do we got coming up? It's Time Life Freedom. Again, we are disruptors. We do things very differently. That's unlike anything in our industry. 4-day event right here in Millburg, California, 5 minutes from SFO, November 8th to 11th. Why is the date out now? For two reasons. One, we only offer 20 spots. Two, it's the end of the year. If you're not spending all the money you have, you're either going to give it away in taxes, right? And why do that? If you want to make money, put money into your business. Who's your best investment? You. You are your best investment. Invest now, get the tax write-off, be part of It's Time Life Freedom, November 8th through 11th. Our group mentoring, which is in full effect. I love the groups we're building. I understand Josh is coming aboard. I'm looking forward to that, Josh. Me and my team of Marco, Monique, Jason, and myself, we're having a lot of fun and we're genuinely helping school owners better what they do. When you feel empowered, I talk about all those different hats you need to wear. You need to be great at marketing, great at social media, great at designing flyers and stuff, great at level 5 leadership, great at communication. You need to be great at all these things. And in our It's Time group mentoring, we're committed to helping you develop all those skill sets to truly create your version of success. Cool? All right. So this one I'd recommend you go back and listen to a lot, because I do know if I sell you stuff, it's transactional and you're a customer. But if I promote a purpose and a why and get you to believe in it, I create that loyalty because of the relationship that we forge together. And that promotes brand loyalty. That promotes raving fans that will go out there and tell everybody how wonderful and amazing you are. I'm Brannon Beliso. What do you got to subscribe to? Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Subscribe to our podcast, Success Never Sleeps, at Apple, Amazon Music, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio. Follow me at Instagram. Join our Disruptor group. Don't miss out on that. Join the Disruptor group. For everything else, go to BrannonBeliso.com. That was a great show today. Thank you so much, Marco. Love you, my brother, for holding down the fort so I can do what I do really, really well. I am Brannon Beliso. Happy holidays to everybody. This is Success Never Sleeps. Until we talk again, what are you going to go out there and do? Live your best life. Yeah.